Everything went wrong with a video sent by a senior. In the picture, a black shadow is lying on the ground. At first we thought it was a promo for some horror game, but I saw the familiar guitar in the lower right corner of the video. We realized that it was a senior's rental house. That is after that video. The senior's account has never been online again, and the last message he sent was only 4 simple words. Stock up quickly. 3 o'clock in the morning. My roommates and I staying up late. But just when the team battle was at its most intense, message pops up in the bottom right corner of the screen. It was a video call from a senior. I'll see you later. Finish this wave first. However, the video call also hung up with the voice. Immediately afterwards, the senior sent another video. The dormitory boss was stunned for a moment and took off his headphones. Wrong. I glanced at the police. Video thumbnails are black and flat. I could vaguely see something. Seniors usually don't like to post this kind of thing. He is a graduate student in the Department of Computer Science. All day long, either writing code or playing games. Pause for a moment. The boss said, "Stop what we were doing." The boss clicked on the video. The picture shook violently. It's like a mobile phone recording in a panic. The background is dark. Only the light of the TV. One figure pounces on another. The sound of biting comes through the stereo, mixed with some kind of sticky chewing sound. Team slot. What the hell is this? The second child put down the potato chips. The picture quality is really realistic. The fourth child pushed his glasses. Unreal 5 engine. But I'm on the screen. A chill ran through his heart. Video is shaking. But for a moment, I saw what was on the wall. Thing is a pennant. The pennant of our school's information security competition. This is Senior's family. The boss went back. Look at it one by one. That's right. Pennant on the wall. Models of blankets on the sofa. And the familiar guitar in the corner. This is the senior's living room. We also went to eat last month. The last seconds of the video. The camera flips. The senior's face appeared in the picture. Black screen. The dormitory was so quiet that each other's breathing could be heard. Don't panic. It could be a prank, the second child said with a smile. But the chips in my hand were crushed. I immediately sent a message to the senior. Not read. Call. Unable to connect. Look at his game status. The last online time was 10 minutes ago. It's time to post a video. Look at the group. The senior also posted this video in our alumni group, but it was soon withdrawn. Only one last message is left. There is no explanation. There was no follow-up. What is the situation? The second child stood up, walking around the small dormitory. I open the browser. Start searching for relevant news. Nothing. It's normal on social media. Everyone is still thinking about final exams and summer vacation plans. But the fourth child found something unusual. Look at this. He called up a technical forum. There are a few scattered posts inside. Does anyone know what happened to City A? Why did my cousin lose contact late? A student at University B is missing. School lockdown messages. None of these posts survived long. Soon it was 404. The network sanitization mechanism is activated. The fourth child frowned. Someone is deleting certain information. The boss and I looked at each other. If you still had a fluke before, now you can't fool yourself. Do we want it? What is the country? What is the country? The second child laughed. Do you really believe it? If it's a horror short film made by a senior. But his laughter was reluctant. The boss was silent for a while. Why did the senior only send us 4? Everyone looks beautiful. We have a good relationship with our seniors, but it wasn't so good that it was sent separately. Unless he thinks only we will believe it. The fourth child expressed my thoughts. Because we're all game nerds. I have seen countless bereaved movies, played countless survival games. If the end really comes, we may be the ones who react the fastest. Exercise, regardless of whether it is true or false. Prepare first. What to prepare? The second child is still out of the situation. Material. I open the memo. Food, water, medicines, tool. There is also a place. Need a safe place. Observatory. The school's observatory is on the top floor of the teaching building. Usually no one goes. The key is with the president of the Astronomical Society, and the president just went home last week. The spare key is in the guard's room, but Lao Jiang often dozes off at night. Split up. The boss began to assign tasks. Fan Shu and the second child went to the canteen. Buy food. The fourth child is responsible for checking the information. See what else is out of the ordinary. I'm going to get the keys. Wait a minute. I called them out. If this is true, we believe it like that. What if there is a misunderstanding? The boss looked at me. The eyes are very serious. I would rather believe it exists. If it's fake, it's a big deal to waste some money. If true, he didn't finish, but we all get it. If it's true, this may be our only chance to survive. 3:52 a.m. There are still more than 2 hours left before dawn. Dormitory building is still sleeping. No one knows that the 4 gaming geeks are preparing for a possible apocalypse. Meet at the observatory in 15 minutes. Only take hard currency with a long shelf life. Remember, don't alarm others. We nodded. No one spoke, but they all prayed silently in their hearts. Hopefully it's really just a prank. I hope after dawn, everything is business as usual. But that video is still looping in my head. A broken arm that was gnawed, unbelievable. Broken guitar. There is also the fear in the eyes of the senior. I pushed open the dormitory door. The lights in the corridor flickered on and off, like voltage instability. There's a strange smell in the air. I can't tell what it is. It could be whose takeaway is bad. Maybe. That's it. 3:30 in the morning. When the entire dormitory building is asleep, we started our first purchasing program. 4:03 a.m. The roller shutter door of the Southgate canteen was ajar. Boss lay on the cash register and beat. The fluorescent lamps in the store are magnetizing. Twinkle and twinkle. Boss. I pushed him. He woke up suddenly. Saliva pulled out a silver thread from the corner of his mouth. Yes. What to buy? Chocolate? Beef? jerky, compressed cookies, anything that can be kept for a long time. Most of the night. Are you going camping? Military training. And training. Instructor gives temporary notice. This reason is nonsense, but the boss didn't care. He yawns, pointed to the shelf. Take it yourself. Scan the code to pay. I push the cart quickly between the shelves. Chocolate should be high in cocoa. Tihonga. Beef jerky is vacuum packed. Long shelf life. Compressed biscuit eggs are not tasty, but one piece can withstand a meal. Salt is important. He's right. Salt is not only a condiment, it can also be disinfectant and antiseptic. Grabbed 10 bags of edible salt and threw them into the car. Lighter. I remembered the setting in the game. Fire is the key to survival. 3 boxes of lighters, 5 flashlights, and the battery. I was like an obsessive-compulsive disorder. Turn over the bottom of the shelf. There are some stocks that the boss has forgotten, promotional items from a few months ago. Shelf life is more than 1 year. You buy so much. The boss finally woke up a little, looking suspiciously at the full shopping cart. 4 classes practice together. I made it up casually. We take care of procurement. Scan the code on your mobile phone. 324 yuan. This is my living expenses for 2 months. But now is not the time to feel sorry for money. Wait a minute. The boss suddenly stopped us. Is there something going on lately? Someone also came to buy a bunch of things yesterday. Heart tightened. Woof off. I don't know. Out-of-town accent. Bought a lot of canned food. He said he was going to go far away. One of the foods with the longest shelf life. It seems that we are not the only ones who have received warnings. Boss, do you have a medicine kit here? Yes. In the back warehouse. The boss got up and led the way. Why do you want that? Prevent heat stroke. The smell of the warehouse is stronger. The county has a strange smell, like something rotten. The boss frowned. Damn rats. Where did he die again? Medicine box is full of dust. I checked it. Basic drugs are available. Adhesive bandage. Iodophor. Gauze. There are also a few boxes of expired Shengmao medicine. Expiration period of half a year. Not a big problem. This is also needed. I pointed to the sapper shovel in the corner. That's for my self-defense. Boss is not very willing. 200. I will quote directly. Deal. Push the cart back. The second child asked in a low voice. Do you really believe it? You don't believe it. It was silent for a while. The dormitory next door is still playing games. There are still people outside skewers. If something really happens, it can't be so calm. Baixing district is 20 kilometers away. I reminded him. News takes time to spread, but there is nothing online, so the book is terrible. We moved things to the observatory. The boss is already there. A string of keys was dangling in his hand. Lao Zhang slept like a dead pig. Did you find anything? I asked the 4th child. He shook his head. Social media in Baisheng district has not been updated since 2 a.m. The last one is someone complaining about a power outage and blackout. This is normal. It's also abnormal. Canteen warehouse. The boss looked at the time. The lock on the back door was repaired by the administrator last time. I know how to open it. The back door of the canteen is in an alley. It's usually piled up with oil and water buckets. The taste is very rushed, but tonight was exceptionally quiet. There is no sound of wild cats rummaging through the garbage. The lock is old. I pried it twice with a Swiss Army knife and it opened. The warehouse is full of rice noodles and seasonings. There is also a large freezer. Moving rice is unrealistic. The boss analyzed. Too heavy. The goal is too big. Dehydrated vegetables. 4th child pointed to the corner. The canteen is used to make soup. Shelf life is 2 years. Good idea. We packed 10 bags of dehydrated vegetables. There are also soy sauce vinegar and cooking oil. The 4th child is very careful. Pour the oil into a washed and dry drink bottle. It's easy to carry. There is a lot of frozen meat in the freezer. I hesitated. I still wrapped a few pieces. Wrap it in plastic wrap for a few more layers. Buried in the SARS on the rooftop. It can be stored for a period of time. The 4th child was suddenly stunned. He pointed behind the boss. What is Shing? Let's turn back. In the shadows deep in the warehouse. Something is moving. Very slow. It's very expensive. For example, mouse. 4th child breathed a sigh of relief. It's just a big mouse. Really. A fat rat crawls out of the shadows. But its movements are strange. Take 2 steps and twitch, foaming at the mouth. Poisoned. The second child guessed. The rat suddenly accelerated. Rushed to us authentically. Bloodshot eyes. Exposed teeth. I subconsciously lifted the sapper shovel. Slap it down with a shovel. Oh yeah. The rat was slapped flat. Black blood splattered all over the floor. The taste is intoxicating. Exercise. Is this mouse sick? It may be rabies, I say. But I was thinking about another possibility. If even the rats are infected. Move quickly. It's almost dawn. We speed up. Pressure cooker. Stainless steel dinner plates. There are also some sealed bags. When passing by the fire cabinet, the second child pried open the door. Carried away a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. It can be used as a weapon. Chemistry laboratory on the 3rd floor of the experimental building. The door is locked, but the window is not closed. Old 4 sons are young. Drill in through the window. Handed out several bottles of alcohol. 5 degrees of medical standard. Be careful. I took the alcohol. This thing is flammable. The infirmary is on the 1st floor. The school doctor on duty was not there. Probably went to the toilet. We quickly swept the medicine cabinet. Antipyretics, anti-inflammatories, gauze, iodophor are all basic drugs, but it can save lives at critical moments. Thermometer. The 4th child reminded. And masks. 2 masks. If it is really Viral. Masks are the first line of defense. We looted all the masks in the infirmary. There are 5 large boxes. Back to the observatory. The east has turned white. We were tired like dogs. Paralyzed on the ground and gasped. What is missing? The boss. I say. Lots of water. The dormitory has a water heater. The second child said. Inadequate. The fourth child shook his head. If there is a water outage, the water heater is the decoration. Mineral water. I thought about it. There are still canteens. I'll move a few more boxes. I'll go. The second child volunteered to be brave. Wait a minute. The boss stopped him. 2 people go. Bring the guy. The guy is a sapper shovel and a stripped curtain rod. Though simple, but it's better than nothing. My second child and I came to the canteen again. The boss is awake, looking at the phone. Here you go again. Buy some more water. I say, move it yourself. He was absent-minded. Eyes on the screen. I glanced at it. It's a new local room. The title is normal. Temporary power outage notice in Baiqing district. But the comment area has been closed. Can the boss borrow a trolley? In the back, we pushed 10 boxes of mineral water back. On the way, I met students who got up early and ran in the morning. Everything looks normal. It's normal. Fang Shu. The second child said suddenly, what if it's fake? Then it will be a military training rehearsal. I'm serious. Stopped. Would we overreact? I also stopped. Look at the sky that gradually brightens up. Second child, do you remember what kind of person the senior was? It's quite reliable. Would that kind of person joke about this kind of thing? He was silent. Back at the observatory, the fourth child is modifying the exhaust fan. Simple ventilation. Filtration system. Prevents the spread of the virus through the air. Where did you learn it? I was shocked. Generation B. He pushed the glasses. Doomsday Survival Guide. 3 million views. The boss is sorting out the supplies. Separate categories. A pile of food. Bunch of tools. Medicines are placed separately. Look at these things. Suddenly, there was a feeling of unreality. The fourth child hasn't come back yet. Damn it. The boss looked at his phone. Did you go at this time? Fourth. We all call him the fourth. Last night, we agreed to open up and narrow together. As a result, he ran away at 12 o'clock. He said he was going to an internet cafe to download materials. Call. Hit it. Shut down. Worst. The fourth child is really outside. I went to him. I stood up. No way. The boss grabbed me. It's too dangerous. Just go to the internet cafe and take a look. I am strong. It's dawn. What can happen? In the end, the boss compromised. Wear this. It is a military coat from Gang Shunlai. Although it's summer, but thick clothing prevents skin contact. I think it's a bit excessive, but I still put it on. 10 minutes. The boss said seriously. If we don't come back in 10 minutes, we will withdraw. Got it. I pushed open the door of the observatory. The corridor was very quiet. Only the sound of its own footsteps. The elevator is still running. Looks like everything is fine, but I know. The thought before the storm was extraordinarily peaceful. We may be the first to notice the direction of the wind. The internet cafe outside the school is still lit. The air was filled with the smell of smoke and instant noodles. I pushed the door open. The familiar keyboard sound came to my face. I walked through the rows of computers. Most people are playing games. The light of the screen was imprinted on their faces. The expression was numb. It's like another world. Fourth child is indeed on the 23rd machine. He was wearing headphones. The eyes were bloodshot. Fingers tapped quickly on the keyboard. The screen is densely packed with code and data. Fourth. I patted him on the shoulder. He was startled. Take off your headphones. Fang Shu, what are you doing here? He asked me. I lowered my voice. If something happens, go back quickly. Wait a minute. He turned back to the screen. Download it right away. Looked over. It's a mess of papers. Medical manuals, wilderness survival guidelines, simple weapon crafting. There are also tutorials for cracking Thread networks. The fourth child noticed my gaze. If the 4G base station is down, Thread networks may still work. It is indeed a technical house. Think farther than we are. And this. He opens another folder. All information about the Ganbai urban area at home and abroad. Twitter, Facebook, even the dark web. What was found? His expression became solemn. The urban area started at 11 o'clock last night. All information is blocked. But he clicked on a screenshot. It was a message on Twitter. The release time is 1 a.m. Run fast and they're all crazy. The picture is very blurry. It was like shooting while running. And this. Another screenshot. Anonymous posting on a forum. An unknown disease broke out in Baiqing District Hospital. Patients are extremely aggressive. The family prayed for their own blessings. I felt a chill in my back. Why the mainstream media didn't report it? What do you think? The fourth child smiled bitterly. Panic spreads faster than a virus. The download progress bar finally reached 100. The fourth child quickly pulled out the USB flash drive. Stuffed a new one in. Wireless network card. Industrial grade. The signal can cover 2 kilometers. You've already prepared it. The fellow villagers of seniors. I am here too. He pushed the glasses. See his news. I knew something was wrong. We quickly left the internet cafe. It was already bright outside. Breakfast stalls are open. The fragrance overflows. Everything seems so normal. Fang Shu, the fourth child, suddenly grabbed me. Look over there. At the school gate. Several police cars parked there. The uniformed man was talking to the security guard. The expression is serious. Go through the side door. I pulled him around the way. The side door is usually closed. But there's a gap in the fence. The students all know it. We just drilled in. I heard a radio sound coming from behind me. Attention students, due to equipment maintenance, the school will be dry today from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Temporary power outage. Please be prepared. Another power outage. We trotted all the way back to the observatory. The boss saw us, obviously relieved. Nian Suan is back. How is it outside? Not good. I told them what I saw. The second child is still hard-mouthed. It's just a power outage, eh? Power outages are frequent in summer. Power outages in summer. There won't be so many police officers in uniform. The fourth child corrected his words. The boss looked at his phone. Done 40. There are still 20 minutes left. What 20 minutes? Blackout. Stood up. If it's really a power outage, we have to hurry. The next 20 minutes, we beat it like chicken blood. Charge all devices that can be charged. Fill all containers that can hold water. Check the supplies again. Blanket. The fourth child said suddenly, it will be cold at night. Where did the blanket come from? Gymnastics mat. The second child patted his head. There is a sports equipment room. He and the boss ran to move the gymnastics mat. The fourth child and I stayed behind. Continued to sort out the materials. The observatory is not big, but enough for 4 of us to do the activity. The windows were pasted with newspaper. Leave only one slit to observe the outside. 7:55 a.m. Boss and the others came back with gymnastic mats. I also brought a lot of extras. Jumping rope can be used as a rope. Dumbbell weapons. There were also a few footballs that don't know what use. Last 5 minutes. I looked at my phone. We sit on the ground. Form a circle. No one spoke. The atmosphere was depressing like the sea before a storm. It really is the end. What do you regret the most? Never been in love. The fourth child was the first to answer. A game that has not been cleared. I say, didn't go home. The second child smiled. Biggest regret is that I didn't finish last night's instant noodles. We all laughed. The laughter was short-lived, but dispelled some of the fear. The lights went out at 8 o'clock. Not just observatories. The entire school building fell into darkness. Students complained outside the window. Someone is scolding the school for being in tatters. We know. This is no ordinary power outage. Radio. The fourth child turned on the radio prepared in advance. Tune into the emergency channel. In the rustling of electricity, the broadcast was faintly heard. Please stay calm. Cooperate with relevant departments. The supply of materials is sufficient. Standard official wording. But the more so, the more it shows the seriousness of the situation. I walked to the window, carefully opened a corner of the newspaper. The students downstairs began to gather. They are connected to each other. Someone is calling with a mobile phone. The expression changed from doubt to horror. The network can still be used. The boss checked his phone. It's very khaki. The base station is overloaded. The fourth child analyzed. Everyone is looking up news online. I refresh social media. The picture is very stuck, but I still saw something. They all ask about power outages. No more information. Suddenly a scream pierced the sky. Far away but clear. It was like a sound that extreme fear could make. We look good. Another sound, this time closer. 6:03 a.m. Heart-wrenching scream. Breaking through the silence of dawn. I opened my eyes suddenly. My heart was racing. In the astronomical observation classroom, the others woke up. The boss has kept vigil until now. The face turned pale. Here we go. Voice was soft. A second scream sounded. This time closer. It seemed to come from the direction of the dormitory building. This was followed by chaotic footsteps. The sound of things falling. And some kind of beastly roar. We quickly got up. Each took their place. The second child checks the doors and windows. Fang Shu followed me to the rooftop. The morning light on the rooftop is faintly dewy. Usually at this time, early students would go for a morning run on the playground. The canteen will smell of soy milk. But today, the entire campus was shrouded in the silence of chase. Oh, not silence. The boss pointed to the dormitory area. The sound of glass shattering came and went. Someone is screaming. Someone is calling for help. There was also a banging on the door. The 3rd floor of dormitory building. No 5. A figure leaned out of the window. Eve. Desperately. Then he was dragged back by something. I couldn't stop driving and making a sound. More windows are lit. More figures are shaking. But soon Xing's lights went out one by one. Look no further. The boss pulled me downstairs. We have to confirm the situation of the fourth child. I remembered. Why did the fourth child go to the laboratory late to debug the equipment? Haven't come back yet. His phone shut down. Positioning? Finally it is shown in the experimental building. We look through the window at the laboratory building. Not far away. The straight line distance is less than 200 meters. But now these 200 meters may be the distance between life and death. I went to him. I grabbed the equipment I had prepared a long time ago. Thick jacket, overalls, sneakers. The second child came from the sports equipment room. It also came in handy. Knee and elbow pads. There is also a motorcycle helmet. I'll go with you. The second child stood up. Away. The boss stopped him. There are many people and big goals. Fang Shu is fast. A person is more mobile. I know he's right. But the second child was obviously unwilling. 15 minutes. Whole town arrives at 8. 15 minutes you have to come back, whether you find it or not. Got it. I pinned a Swiss Army knife to my waist. Grabbed another bottle of chili water spray. Take a deep breath and push the door open. The corridor was unusually quiet. Green light of the emergency light makes everything look unreal. I moved against the wall. Be careful every step of the way. There was an echo in the stairwell. It was the sound of my own breathing. First, second, and 3rd floors. Everything is fine. It's normal. On the contrary, it is unsettling. Push open the fire door of the experimental building. The strong smell of disinfectant water hit my face. While under the smell of disinfectant water, there is another taste. Smell of blood. At the end of the hallway, the door of the laboratory was empty. And there were dark traces on the ground. Extends all the way inside the door. The fourth child lowered my voice. No response. Push open the door. The laboratory was a mess. and the equipment was overturned. The reagent bottle was shattered, and the backpack of the fourth exam was still on the table. Next to it is the device he assembled into one. What about people? A soft sound came from the storage room. I clenched the hilt of the knife. Slowly approaching the crack in the door, a faint light leaked out. There was also rapid breathing. It's me, Fan Shu. Come on in. It is the voice of the fourth exam. I pushed the door open. The test is shrunk in the fish drop. His face was pale, and his left arm was bleeding. Simply bandaged. What happened? Professor Shan. He shivered. Professor Chen was still working overtime last night. I thought it was okay. But he changed. It's not him. The fourth child's voice was instrumental. He pounced on me to bite me. Eyes. The eyes are all white. The scene in the video of the infected is widowed. Can you go? I helped the fourth child up. Followed for a moment, but stood firm. Wait for him to shake back to the table. Grab the unfinished equipment of the county. This must be taken away. What is so important? Signal barrier, he gasped. It can intercept all wireless signals. Includes military bands. I don't talk nonsense anymore. Picked up his bag and was about to leave. Footsteps came from the corridor. Wrong. Not footsteps. It is the sound of dragging. It was like someone was dragging their feet and walking accompanied by heavy gasps. Cao Si and I looked at each other. The storage room has only one exit. Sound of dragging was getting closer and closer through the crack in the door. I saw a figure appear at the door of the laboratory and his coat was covered in blood. Messy hair. The walking posture is tilted and chasing and different. It's Professor Chen. Or said. Lu Jing. He wanders around the laboratory, knocked over more things suddenly. He stopped. The nose smells something in the air. And then, slowly moved to the pantry. Weapons, I whispered. Cao Si pointed to a few bottles of chemical reagents on the shelf. Sulfuric acid, said. I carefully take the right bottle. The other hand clenched the knife. The door handle began to turn. 1 second, 2 seconds. The door was pushed open suddenly and Professor Chen rushed in. I could see his face clearly. His skin was sickly disgusted. Eyeballs are bloodshot. Mouthfish also had unknown liquid hanging. I poured sulfuric acid over it. Sila. The pungent smell instantly filled the small space, and Professor Chen let out an even more mournful cry. Cover your face with your hands and step back. Run. I pulled Cao Si out of the storage room and Professor Chen rolled on the ground, but soon got up again. Even if the face has been corroded beyond recognition, he still chased after him. This way. We rushed into the stairwell to test our legs. I dragged him downstairs and the roar behind me was getting closer and closer. Second floor. First floor. The gate is right in front of you. But outside the door, more figures appeared. 3, 5. They wandered in the open space in front of the building. The movements were stiff, but not slow, and one of them was wearing a security uniform. The counterpart on the waist is still sizzling. The window has been tested to the side of the 4 fingers. The windows on the first floor are not high, and I support the fourth exam. Climbed out with difficulty and was about to catch up. The door of the stairwell slammed open. Professor Chen caught up. It's too close. I grabbed the stool next to me and smashed it. The moment he ran along, he turned out of the window. The infected people outside heard the movement, began to gather towards us. This way. It was the voice of the exam. And he and the second exam appeared not far away, holding it in your hand. Then, a Molotov cocktail crosses the arc and the glass bottle is shattering at the infected's feet. The flames spread instantly and everything seemed to be flat, still retaining the fear of fire. Subconsciously they retreated. Take advantage of this opportunity. We ran to the planetarium. The distance of 200 meters has never been longer. You can hear the sound of chasing behind you. I can feel the danger approaching the fourth exam and the injury slows down. I was running with him on my back. 100 meters. 50 meters. Fast. Cao Da and Cao Tu met us at the door of the building, and rushed in. They immediately closed the door and locked it. Bam! The infected slammed into the door. The whole door was shaking, but it was holding up well. Collapsed to the ground. Take a deep breath. You. I looked at the Molotov cocktail left in the boss's hand. He wiped his sweat from what he prepared last night. Alcohol plus dish soap. Temporarily, Cao Si's injury needs to be dealt with, and we helped him to the preparation room. Cleaning the wound with iodophor is not deep. It looks more like a scratch than a bite. The virus transmission route test 4, said weakly. If it is a virus, body fluid contact. Don't talk, I'll put a bandage on him. Rest first. Window. Screams came one after another, and the entire campus was in chaos. Look at the second child pointing into the distance. Black smoke rose from the dormitory area and someone was setting fire. Or the fire caused by the loss of control. More figures wandering between the buildings. Some are still wearing pajamas. Apparently, just infected. Our choice is right. The exam is whispered. If you are still in the dormitory, I can't imagine. The cell phone still has a signal, but the internet is intermittently connected to the family group. Mom and Dad are crazy. Me, I'm fine. Don't go out in a safe place. After sending the message, signal is cut off. Communication began to be interrupted, and Cao Si lay on a makeshift bed. Right next is electricity, and then there is. He didn't finish, but we all get it. The social order is collapsing, and this is just the beginning. Doomsday. The widow has come. Day 3. We have established a fragile order. The astronomy classroom has become our refuge, and the university has formulated a strict routine. During the day, 2 people are on duty. The 2 rested. In the evening, all staff are on guard for the rational distribution of food. Most important thing is to save water. Stay safe. They are sensitive to sound, and this is an experience we have paid for. Yesterday someone shouted loudly in the dormitory building opposite. As a result, 7 or 8 infected people were attracted, and the county building has now fallen. The fourth child's injury is improving, but he put more energy into the equipment, and the signal interceptor was debugged by him. All kinds of information began to come in. The Eastern District has fallen. Number of infected people requesting support exceeded expectations. The evacuation plan is launched. The meeting point is at intermittent communication exposes the loneliness outside. Not just our school. The entire city is falling. Serum. Laosi suddenly said, I intercepted an encrypted message. Serum tests are mentioned. Where is it? The Municipal Center for Disease Control and Prevention said that the preliminary test was effective. The flame of hope is ignited in despair. But the city CDC is on the other side of the city. In the current situation, it's just a fantasy. Survive first, and then say that the boss is very sensible. But on the morning of the 5th day, everything has changed. I got up and was on duty as usual. But I found the boss curled up in the fish drop, hair all over the body. Top dog. He looked up, eyes scattered. I'm not feeling well. The heart instantly sank to the bottom. When did it start? Last night? Probably earlier. We checked his body for no visible bites or scratches. But on his calf, there is a swollen bag. It looks like the traces of mosquito bites. The mosquito exam two's face changed. The room was deadly silent, and we were all aware of something. Viruses don't just spread mosquitoes through biting. Those mosquitoes that are everywhere. It is also a communication medium. The voice of the isolation exam is very weak, but firm. Lock me in the pantry. No way. The second child became excited. This is the only way to stand up with a big shake. I can feel it in my body. Burn like fire. We have no choice. The storage room was converted into a temporary isolation area, and we left food and water at the door. The boss walked in by himself. Lock the door, he finally said. The iron chains. Use everything you can find. Click. The county on the lock is a moment. My hands are trembling. The next 12 hours were the front, and the moans from inside could be heard. The sound of impact. There's also a roar that gradually does not look like a human. Second child wanted to open the door several times. We stopped them. He didn't want to become that kind of thing, and the fourth child had red eyes. It was his choice. Suddenly I remembered. The second child is responsible for patrolling the rooftop at night. The county is overgrown with overgrown rooftops. It's all my fault. I beat the wall. You clean up those grasses earlier, but now it's too late to say anything. Zeron test 2 said intermittently. Go find the serum. There is still a chance. I looked at Kawasi and staring at each other. Go to the city of the CDC. Through the fallen city. How likely? Look at the locked record of the storage room. We know there is no way out. That night, we start preparing. From the map, the shortest route to the CDC is a 15-kilometer hike. The test is so weak that you have to avoid the infected. It takes at least 2 days. Protection, we tape all the gaps in the clothes, especially the cuffs and trouser legs. Weapons, except knives. We also prepared a couple of Molotov cocktails. Communication test 4. Adjust the incoming machine to a specific channel. This frequency is still available. The most streamlined configuration of food and water. 3 days is enough. Before leaving, I went to see the boss. He roared and pounced on us. Consciousness is sometimes lucid, and sometimes blurred. When I come back, I will say, 4 o'clock in the morning. We are ready to go. Push open the door of the planetarium. The outside world is a strange world, and the familiar campus turns into hell. Broken glass, overturned bicycles, and something you don't want to look at. There was fire in the distance. There are dark shadows wandering nearby. Remember well, I checked the gear one last time. No matter what happens, living in the right place is the first priority. The fourth child nodded. He pushed the deputy county's iconic glasses. 3 of us stepped into the darkness of the apocalypse. For Brother B, for the county's glimmer of hope. Even if you know, this could be a point of no return. The darkness before dawn is the hardest. We move forward in the shadow of the building. Every step is like walking on thin ice, and the test 4 is navigated with a mobile phone in front. I broke the warning that the south gate of the school was the nearest exit, but it is also the most dangerous. The county originally had the largest traffic. The fourth child suddenly laid down. In the small square ahead, a dozen infected people are wandering under the moonlight. You can see their distorted figures and unnatural movements, and several of them are still wearing school uniforms. Apparently a student who was just infected yesterday. Detour. Cow Air decisively pulled us back. A longer but relatively safe route was chosen through the school building, bypassing the library and avoiding the cafeteria. Every familiar place has changed beyond recognition. The glass door of the library shattered to the ground. When the black hole inside passes, I saw something moving between the shelves. Don't look. Keep going. Finally, when we arrived at the wall, there was a side door to the old exam, usually locked, but the second exam has long studied the structure of the lock. Give me 3 minutes. He pulled out his tools and started picking the locks, and I turned my back to him. I nailed the way. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Fake. Yeah. Push open the door. Outside is a city of oligarchy. If there is still a trace of order in the school, then there is complete chaos outside. There are cars parked on the streets. Some car doors are wide open. Some collide with each other, and the street lights flicker and dim. A few of them had been completely extinguished, and the air was filled with the smell of smoke and decay. Put it on your mouth. At least part of it can be filtered. Follow the planned route, and the commercial street that was once popular is now like a ghost town. Most of the store's roller shutter doors were pried open. It was a mess inside. Someone has come to the test 4 times to point to the traces on the ground. Recently, survivors, this makes us both relieved and vigilant. I walked about 2 kilometers. The day begins at this time. We have to find a place to rest. Daytime action is too dangerous. Infected people have flat vision and are better in light. There I point to an office building. An office on the 3rd floor became a temporary foothold. The door locks are fairly strong and the windows are intact. We take turns resting while observing the streets. The daytime scene is even more shocking. The number of infected people is higher than expected. They wander aimlessly, occasionally gather together, and it disperses again. Some still retain their habits during their lifetime. I saw an infected person in a suit still waiting for the bus, although the stop sign has fallen. Look over there. The 4th child handed me the telescope. A few blocks away, a small group of people was moving quickly. They are fully equipped and move in an orderly manner. Apparently organized. Official. Not like... The 4th child shook his head. The equipment was too complicated. Survivors are the national body. It seems that we are not the only ones who think of finding serum. At noon, the walkie-talkie rang suddenly. Is there anyone? Here it is. Please answer. The signal is weak and intermittent. Want to respond? The 4th child looked at me. I hesitated. Exposure locations are risky, but this is Fang Shu. Press the call button. Who are you? Survival. Trapped. Art museums. The art gallery is not far from here, but not on our route. To a couple. Child. Speaking of children, the other party's voice was obviously stiff. I turned off the walkie-talkie and looked at the 2nd and 4th children. He did not go. The 2nd child is decisive and we have our own tasks. He's right. But the despair in that voice. The 4th child also nodded. Keep moving, I finally said. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we set off again. Bypass 2 infected gathering areas. Walk through a residential area. Progress is slower than expected. This continues. It may take 3 days to reach the CDC. Can the boss last that long? 2 days passed and we walked 5 kilometers. The sun makes the asphalt soft. The sole can leave a shallow mark when stepped on. Burns people's toes and curls up. I looked at my own shadow for 2 seconds, and a few years ago, school was over. The shadow is also so long. It's just that at that time there was a group of noisy classmates crowded around. Now only the footsteps of the 4th and 2nd children remain. Knock on the empty road. Zombies flicker in the shadows of buildings in the distance. I didn't dare to look at it more, but I couldn't stop sweeping it with my peripheral vision. Their decaying skin glows with an oily sheen in the sun. Like bad bacon. The movement is half slower than at night, but it still looks like a puppet on the clockwork. Move tirelessly. It's really strange. It's obviously rotten like that. The joints can still bend and walk. How long is left? The 4th child's voice was hoarse, like sandpaper grinding wood. I turned to look at the bandage on his left arm. The dark stain was half the size of a palm. It was drawn when the old man attacked him. The picture of the convenience store flashed in my mind again. The old man curled up behind the shelf, coughing so much that his back was hunched over. When we handed him half a bottle of water, his fingers looked like fallen leaves in the autumn wind. Who would have thought? The moment the 4th child put the compressed biscuits in front of him, will he suddenly pounce on you with a broken beer bottle. Sound of glass cutting flesh was very soft. It's like tearing open plastic packaging. But that ruthlessness didn't seem to be grabbing food. I just want to pull a cushion back. It's almost time for the viaduct. I try to keep my voice as steady as possible. His eyes went over the shoulders of the 4th child, fell on the 2nd child. He was in a daze at an overturned ice cream truck on the side of the road. Melted cream in the truck was mixed with black mud, like a pile of solidified vomit. At this moment, there was a sudden dense roar in the alley. Not one or two, but a group. My scalp exploded instantly. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a dark shadow gushing out of the corner. Her arms and legs twisted at an angle of pursuit. There was a meowing sound in his throat, like a worn-out bellows. I roared out a few times. He grabbed the 4th child's arm and rushed forward. He ran with him. The wound should hurt a lot, right? But I don't dare to stop. The roar behind him is getting closer and closer. I could hear the footsteps of the 2nd child following very closely. He runs and loves very heavily, as if he was afraid that others would not know that he was coming. I don't know how long it has been running. Weighs like a fire in the lungs. He turned into a narrow alley and hid. When gasping against the cold wall, I found that only the 4th child was left around me. The 2nd child was gone. The wind at the entrance of the alley blew in with the smell of the sister-in-law. I live in an empty alley. Heart was like a hand. How could it not keep up? When Gango turned around, he clearly saw him behind. Was it knocked down? I still don't dare to think about it. The 4th child coughed against the wall. Every sound was like coughing out the lungs. I suddenly remembered the day my boss was locked up in the storage room. He coughed like this too. Abandoned bank ATM cubicles became temporary shelters. Metal door was locked from the inside by US. I took out my saber and cut open the bandage of the 4th child. The edges of the wound have darkened. Can't handle it. He gasped and laughed, his laughter full of despair. Leave me alone. You go for serum or... Smell it! I slapped him. Sounds crashed around in a small space. The shock made my ears hurt. In fact, he regretted it. After the fight, he was already uncomfortable. But I couldn't control it and asked him to continue, and I'm afraid I'll collapse too. Came out for the 2nd child, for the eldest. I looked him in the eye and tried to harden my tone. Now that GE is halfway through, are you lying flat? I pointed to his wound, and my fingertips were all about it. Even if you change, finding the serum can still save you. He froze and a little light slowly appeared in his eyes, like a candle that was about to go out. It was blown up by the wind. I tore a corner of my clothes and rebandaged him. When the fabric rubbed against his skin, you can feel the scorching heat below. My heart sank little by little, and I had a fever. This is worse than a black wound. We don't even have a shadow of antipyretics. After bandaging, I leaned against the cold ATM. Look at the sun outside in a daze. I used to think that summer was too long. Now I hope the sun doesn't set so quickly. When it gets dark, those things should come to life. The fourth child leaned against the wall and closed his eyes, breathing heavily. I touched half of the candle in my pocket. It is from a convenience store. I wanted to save it for the evening. Now I suddenly feel maybe it's time to take another walk at dawn. Even if you walk 100 meters more, it is 100 meters closer to the safety zone. It may be a little closer to the second child. I clenched my saber. The handle of the knife was slippery with the sweat in the palm of his hand. Let's go. We can't stop. Stop, it's really over. The further north you go, the more bereaved there are. We had no choice but to find a place to hide. I helped the fourth child move inside. The sole of the shoe runs over the shredded paper on the ground. It makes a soft rustling sound. This kind of voice doesn't usually care at all. Now it's like sandpaper scraping my eardrums. Every time I was afraid of alarming something. Is there anyone? I lowered my voice and shouted. The echo crashed into the empty lobby. It is particularly prominent. The front desk suddenly moved behind it. A curled shadow tightened suddenly. It's a girl. She huddled under the counter with her knees in her arms. The exposed half of the calf was stained with dry wine mud spots. Fingers twisted the corners of the off-white shirt. Xing Liaozi looked very particular. The work card on his chest shook. The plastic shell is printed with Yuran, administrative assistant in the photo. She has a low ponytail. When he laughed, there was a shallow pear vortex at the corner of his mouth. Don't shout. Her voice trembled. Eyes swept over me and the fourth child quickly. When it fell on his bleeding bandages, the pupils shrank slightly. You guys aren't those things. I didn't answer but pointed to the fourth child's arm. Is there a pharmacy nearby? He burned badly. She pursed her lips and her eyes drifted out of the glass door. Diagonally across from a Huimin pharmacy. 24 hours a day. But yesterday afternoon I saw 3 of them blocked at the cash register. Motionless. She paused and suddenly moved to the side. Reveal the safety passage sign behind you. Go down the fire ladder. Go through the back alley to go around to the back door of the pharmacy. The lock cylinder of the door was rusted long ago, and it opened at one end. I stared at her for 2 seconds. The building was surrounded for 3 days, to say the least. She can live to this day. Either you are extremely lucky or you are more clever than you look. Why don't you go? I'm waiting for news. She lowered her head and touched the work card. Fingertips rubbed at the pear vortex in the photo. The boss said he would send a car to pick him up, and the voice became quieter and quieter. Finally, it turned into an almost inaudible sigh. At this moment I don't know that she has her own natural appearance. It's still stupid luck. It's all at this time. And you still believe in the boss. Don't say so much, let's go quickly. I dragged the fourth child past him, pondered for a while, and nodded. He rushed ahead of me to lead the way. When following her through the fire ladder, the rust of the iron handrail rubbed against the palm of his hand. It's itchy and astringent. The fourth child's breathing became heavier and heavier. Ji-Ping wanted to put all his weight on my shoulders. I could feel his skin burning like a soldering iron. I couldn't find any fever-reducing medicine anymore, and I didn't wait for the wound to get worse. A high fever will drag him to the tower first. Guran walked in front, his steps very light, but I thought I could avoid the loose steps before landing. She passed the second floor platform. She suddenly stopped, pointing out the window. Look, that's the apartment I rented. A lone lamp was lit on the 6th floor of the opposite building. The curtains are not tightly drawn. You can see the crooked sofa inside. The night before yesterday the lights were still on, but they went out. Voice was very soft, probably because she couldn't make it through. I didn't answer. At such times any comfort seems superfluous. On the evening of the 3rd day we rested at a mother and baby shop. The fourth child has already started talking nonsense, holding a stuffed bear and muttering to himself. Said it was Laoli's box of serum. Wuran measured his temperature with the temperature in the store. The hand that threw the thermometer was expecting. It's 39 degrees, and if you continue like this you will have encephalitis. The sky outside the window slowly darkened. The roar of the bereaved family gradually became denser. I looked across the street at the pharmacy with the 24-hour light box. The red light of the light box shines through the glass. Drop a shaking spot on the ground. I'm going to lure them away, I said suddenly. Guran raised his head suddenly. Are you crazy? There were at least 7 outside, and there is no other way. I interrupted her. Eyes fell on the shared bicycle on the corner of the street. The handlebars were also pointing crookedly in the direction of the pharmacy. You take him down the back alley. I led them to the building materials market in the east. There are many alleys in Xingli, and it is easy to get rid of them. What else did she want to say? I had already grabbed the military coat and put it on my body. The heavy canvas rubbed against the neck with a stale camphor smell. This is what we dug out of Lao Li's storage room. That time I just felt tired. Now it has become a lifesaver. See the red water tower. I pointed to the skyline in the distance. The sunset is sinking behind the water tower. An hour later, no matter who didn't arrive. They all waited there for 3 hours. The moment you step on the bicycle, the rust on the saddle rubbed against the pants, leaving a dark red mark. I took a deep breath and rang the bell. The crisp sound was like a pebble thrown into stagnant water. In front of the pharmacy across the street, the bereaved families who were originally standing still suddenly moved. Slowly turn your head. I pedaled and rushed out. Yu Guanjing saw a ghoul ran helping the fourth child into the alley. Stone hanging in my heart fell halfway. The wind pours into the neckline of the coat. It was stuffed in my arms by the thick fabric. The back is quickly soaked. The bereaved followed. The footsteps dragged like dragging a warm rag. But tireless. When passing an intersection, squeezed the brakes, and was blocked all the way. The wreckage of more than a dozen car accidents was stacked into a hillock. The top buses half hung outside the guardrail. There were also bereaved people in suits stuck in the car windows. It was mechanically hitting the glass, making a dull sound. Can only climb. I picked up my bicycle and climbed up the pile of cars. The hem of the military coat hooked on the rearview mirror of the truck. He pulled it so hard that he almost dragged me down. And bowing your head, I saw a bereaved family climbing up the tires of the truck. Rotten fingers pivoted the gaps in the hub. There is also black mud of dry wine embedded in the nail cracks. My heart suddenly beat hard as if I was about to break my ribs. I climbed up with my hands and feet. The metal frame of the bicycle is cheese on the waist. It hurts so much that it makes people numb. And climbing to the top, the zombie was almost reaching my heels. The rotten mouth closed one by one, revealing black and yellow teeth. Get away. I lifted my foot and put it on its chest. It fell like a broken sack, smashed on the roof of the car below. There was a sound. And passing through the car pile, the legs were cut open by broken glass. The wind poured in with a little tinkling. I looked back. The zombies that followed were already half less. A few got stuck in the seams, is writhing in vain. But the one in front is still chasing. One of its legs has been broken. He crawled on the ground on his knees. The speed is faster than walking. When riding near the water tower, the sky was completely dark. Most of the street lights are broken. Only the billboard in the distance was still flashing. Pull the shadow long and short. The military coat is like a steamer. Sweat flows down the corner of the forehead into the eyes. It was so astringent that people couldn't open their eyes. I gritted my teeth and moved forward. The chain suddenly clicked off. I got out of the car, my legs went weak, and I almost knelt on the ground, holding the handlebars to gas. I heard the sound of dragging footsteps behind me. The bereaved man with a broken leg still followed. It was only a dozen meters away from me. I dropped my bike and ran towards the water tower. With every step, the military coat sank like lead. You are almost under the water tower. I saw two shadows standing in the shadows. It is Guran and the fourth child. You can count. Duran's voice just sounded. Suddenly it turned into a short exclamation. I followed her gaze and turned around. The bereaved man with a broken leg had climbed less than 5 meters away from me. Rotten eyes stared at me. Meanwhile, there was also a roar from the surrounding alleys. It was getting closer and closer, as if it was pouring in from all directions. It turns out that they were not lured away by me. It was circled by me. This idea just came up. There was a sudden blackness in front of his eyes. The weight of the military coat overwhelmed me, ringing in the ears. I want to call Gu, ran to take the fourth child to run. He couldn't make any sound. The moment he finally fell, I saw Guzai rushing over and trying to help me. The fourth child also chose to stand up, but their faces became more and more blurred. Only the bereaved man with a broken leg, still crawling over step by step. Finished. This was my last thought before I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, the first thing you smell is the smell of iodophor. The slightly pungent smell penetrated into the nasal cavity. It cleared Chaos' mind a little. The fourth child sat opposite me. The bandage was replaced with a dry white, although his face was still white. His eyes became much clearer. He saw me awake. A hint of relief flashed in his eyes. So as soon as I opened my mouth, I realized something was wrong. The wrist was tied behind him with thick hemp rope. The rough rope surface strangles the flesh. I gasped in pain. The heart sank instantly. Hoarse voice sounded when he woke up. There were 3 men standing in the corner. The leader has a beard, playing with a switchblade in his hand. I swept the backpack at their feet. All our supplies were turned out. These grandsons are careful enough. The bearded eyes rolled around Gu Ran, like looking at an animal. The eyes were slimy. It made my stomach churn. Who are you? I pretend to be relaxed, but my heart is calculating rapidly. Hard fighting is definitely not possible. The 3 of us are in this state now. It's meat on the chopping board. I fell in love with that little girl. You won't live long anyway. The beard and eyebrows erode. All that tone was full of doubt. If you don't believe me, look. I raised my chin towards Gu Ran. Was arrested by the bereaved family just you. Although it is not broken, but I can't keep it infected. And that, I leaned towards the fourth. That kid is starting to talk nonsense now. It is estimated that it will change in the middle of the night. Gu Ran stiffened. My heart is sweating. I'm afraid he will show the filling. But the next second he lowered his head. Shoulders trembled slightly. Look of fear of being exposed. The performance is very similar. The fourth child also coughed in cooperation. Coughing heart-wrenching. Luochik scolded a swear word, kicked my leg. The strength is not light. I gritted my teeth in pain. Bag him to the pit. Just missing a bait. When they set it up, I deliberately pricked a few times, but the drum is beating in my heart. The bait seems they are thinking, use me to lead the bereaved family. This trick is yin enough. That's fine. At least Duran and the fourth child are temporarily safe. They threw me into an abandoned warehouse. The smell of mustiness and dust hits my face. There is a bottomless pit in the corner. There are also a few white bones scattered around the edges. There was a chill in the dim light. I sat down against the wall. Start sharpening the rope. Rough walls are rubbed with hemp rope. Also rubbing my wrist. It hurts hot. I know it in my heart. This group of people is not good at first glance. I don't plan to keep a living mouth at all. I have to find a way to get out quickly. Otherwise it will really become a typical example of a bereaved family. Time passed little by little. The wrist was numb and painful by the rope. I don't dare to stop. Every grind is 1 point closer to freedom. Occasionally there were a few unknown noises outside the warehouse. Let my heart rise to my throat, for fear that they would suddenly come in. In the middle of the night, the rope finally dried up and broke. At that moment, I almost cried with joy. Moved his stiff wrist. I touched the warehouse door with my hands and feet. My fingers just touched the cold door panel. I heard footsteps outside. Oh no, I just retracted my hand. The warehouse door was pushed open. The strong man guarding outside blocked the door. The bright light pierced me so hard that I couldn't open my eyes. He was stunned for a moment. But soon the other hand molded the knife at the waist. That action made my adrenaline jump instantly. I'm afraid I can't hide it now. I clenched my fists and prepared to fight to the death. A wave of bangs. The strong man suddenly fell to the ground. The back of the brain has been bleeding for a long time. I was stunned. Look in the direction where he fell. A man stood up from behind him. The second child is at this moment. The old second hand was rubbed with a blood-stained brick. Eyes were a little panicked. What to do first? When they say that we are going back to where we were. From a distance I saw Guran and the fourth child huddled behind the shelves. Each held a steel pipe in their hands. The expression is vigilant. See you, us. They were visibly relieved. This time the second child said clearly, what happened to me during this time? It turned out that he was washed away by the tide of corpses. I bumped into this group by mistake. In order to survive, you can only pretend to take refuge. After knowing what happened to this group of people in the town, he knew that this group would not let us go. So he waited for the opportunity to save people. I sighed in my heart. Adversity shows true feelings. You can't stay in this place for long. I have to leave quickly. We moved to the back door of the warehouse. The crisp sound of the sole running over the broken glass. There were bursts of sound in the silent night. A few dim lights leaked through the shelves on the top. This illuminates the waist of the second child. The bundle was wrapped in a fertilizer bag. After he blended into the group, earth explosives pounded with stolen saltpeter and charcoal. They don't seem to have it. Guran's words just got stuck. Behind him there was a sudden loud noise of a tin bucket falling to the ground. This was followed by a rough curse. Fuck you. What is hiding the hair on the back of my neck stands up instantly. When I turned around I saw Luo Chi-Hu rushing over holding a steel pipe. Run separately. The second child suddenly shouted. He slammed down the iron shelf next to him. The shelves collapsed with empty oil drums on them, stuck in a narrow aisle. Luo Chi scolded and bumped over. Was followed by the oil drum. Took the opportunity to drag the fourth child to the forklift on the side. That's what I saw when Congo came in. The key is still inserted into it. Hurry up and screw the car keys. The forklift rang suddenly. People who choke on exhaust gas cough. The tall and thin one has already bypassed the shelves. Wrong struck like a windmill. Second child grabbed the crowbar next to him and threw it over. It was smashing on his wrist. Where should the glory knife land? I don't care about you. The red cheeks and red eyes rushed towards the second child. The steel pipe split down with the sound of the wind. The second child dodged sideways. The steel pipe smashed into the concrete floor. Mars splashed his face. I braked and rushed to the back door. The car bucket crashed open the iron door. She screamed on the door frame. The fourth child suddenly grabbed my arm. Left. I turned my head. 3 zombies were seen being attracted by the movement of the warehouse. Jump around. One of them was wearing a tattered courier suit. The throat rattled. Salt water drips down the chin. I sat down and slammed the steering wheel. The forklift crashed over with inertia. The body of the car is on the chest of the bereaved courier. The object was pushed back a few steps. The claws grabbed the rotten nails on the edge of the car body. The scraped iron sheet was torn and pulled. The fourth child grabbed the fire extinguisher next to him, slammed into his head. Foam mixed with black blood splattered all over the car. Try or not, the second child has already followed. He still had the bundle of explosives in his hand. Luo Chi and the remaining 2 accomplices. It is chasing around the shelves. The steel pipe dragged a screeching sound on the ground. I glanced at the zombies getting closer and closer. Also looked at the narrow alley at the back door. If they block the intersection, we have become the whole of Dengli. Freed me gritted my teeth. The forklift opens forward. The zombie jumped out of the seam. The second child tore off the fuse and threw it into the warehouse. He dragged us into the alley. Just rushed to the entrance of the alley. Deafening explosion overturned the roof of the warehouse. The heat wave wrapped in broken bricks and slapped on the back. The person in pain is out of breath. Walk. I dragged them towards the rooftop. The zombies in the alley were frightened by the explosion and became manic. 2 of them have blocked the staircase. One of them broke a leg. He was crawling on the ground with his hands. Cement floor of the nail pivot is crispy and slag. The second child picked up the steel pipe on the ground. The moment he looked up, he slammed it into his mouth. Black blood sprayed him on his trouser leg. We stumbled onto the rooftop. Backhand hit the iron door. The second child took out an iron chain and wrapped it around the lock twice. The moment it clicked, there was a muffled sound of the bereaved family knocking on the door downstairs. I helped the fourth child lean on the rust tank. His forehead was hot and scary, but suddenly grabbed my wrist. See. Door axle. I looked down. GA found that the lower axle of the iron gate had been loosened by the impact. Guran suddenly pointed to the corner. There is rebar. There. It is the waste steel bar left over from the pile of decoration. The length varies. With a sharp break, the second child picked up the longest route. Plug it under the door shaft. The moment the steel bar gets stuck in the gap, the force of the knock on the door seemed to be lighter, and Guran pointed to the pile of bricks on the rooftop. It is left over from previous renovations. The second child and I hurriedly moved the bricks, block by piece behind the door. The brick pile gradually rose higher. The vibration of hitting the door finally weakened, but the roar of the zombies is closer. The bereaved family was posted on the other side of the door. Snorts sprayed on the iron sheet, with the fishy smell of carrion. Fuck, they came up too. I poked my head. I saw the group of people with a beard climbing up the stairs. The tall and thin man was still holding a fire axe in his hand, apparently bypassing the explosion zone. They were followed by 2 bereaved families. Probably caught up with them. This is good. The front and back are blocked. smash me, grab a brick and throw it down. It just hit the thin and tall man's back. Drove back, the fire axe is swinging the tiger. But I also picked up the broken bricks. Aim for the bearded head. Throw it over and smash it on the handrail of the stairs. Broken into several pieces. The fourth child leaned on the water tank. He said, panting, lift the asbestos mutual next to it. There's some old asbestos tiles piled up on the north side of the sky. It is the leftover from the canopy before. Looked at the second child, suddenly lifted the two pieces and pushed them towards the staircase. Asbestos tiles fell with a clatter. It just hit the foot of the beard. One of them has nails. Rushed his arm. Blood gushed out instantly. He cursed and stepped back, temporarily blocked. But the zombies downstairs hit even more. The brick pile behind the door has collapsed in half. The tin door is dented into a big pit. You can see the rotten fingers of the bereaved outside. I grabbed a steel bar. My heart tightened. I really want to be rushed in by them. Don't even have room to resist. At this moment, the second child suddenly pulled me, pointing to the western sky. What is that? I don't care. I saw a small black dot moving this way, with a sound of commanding closer and closer. It's a lift. It's time. Where did the helicopter come from? The voice became clearer and clearer. It even overshadowed the roar of the zombies and the curse of the beard. It is the movement of the rotor cutting air. You can't go wrong to solve this gang of miscellaneous firsty. The second child suddenly picked up the steel bar and rushed to the staircase. The beard just climbed up. The fire axe smashed his head and face. Second child lifted the steel bar to block it. Oh, scream. The shock made his arm go numb. I rushed over too, pick up the broken bricks on the ground and pat them on the thin and tall face. He coughed and retreated. Slip under your feet. Just hit the zombie that was catching up. The zombie opened its mouth and bit it. He screamed and waved his arms, but I can't get rid of it. A few gunshots suddenly rang out downstairs. It was crispy as if it had bitten down the ice ballista. I was stunned. I saw a zombie holding an iron door and fell down. The back of the head exploded with a snowflake. Immediately afterwards, more gunshots came from different directions. Staircase. Zombie biting the thin and tall. Suddenly blossomed its head. The tall and thin man collapsed on the ground in fright. He was dragged up by the beard and ran away, but was hit in the leg by another bullet. Bent down to his knees. It is the army. The fourth child stood up, holding the water tank at some point. The glasses were stained with ash, but the brightness is amazing. I looked up and saw it. Dark green Dow helicopter hovered above the rooftop. The passage on the fuselage will glow in the sun. The hatch opens. The barrel of the machine gun sticks out. The train licks the air, accurately swept towards the bereaved downstairs. Those things that Gengo still banged on the door like crazy. It was torn to pieces in an instant. The wind swept down from the spiral slurry of the helicopter. It blows so hard that people can't open their eyes. The second child was panting with a steel bar. The arm was still shaking. There was blood on his face. Ash smiled. Guru Ran leaned on the water tank, hands on chest. Tears fell, smashed on the back of the fourth child's hand. I watched the soldiers clean up the scene. Suddenly I felt that all my strength was drained. When he was pulled onto the plane, I looked back at the rooftop. The brick pile collapsed by the door. The steel bars were inserted crookedly into the ground. The sun shines through the smoke on the blood-stained concrete floor. Past a blurred spot of light, smoke was still billowing from the warehouse in the distance, like a cigarette that is about to burn out. It turns out that living can really be so steady. A year later, I was sitting in the library. In front of him is a fake professional book. The final exam is coming again. This time, it was a real exam. Not the end. The phone vibrates. It's a group of news. Boss, the basketball team won the championship. The second child, awesome, celebrate at night. Fourth child, congratulations. Guran and I have an appointment tonight. I won't go. You have appointments every day. Every day bickering. It feels so good. The library radio sounded. Today is National Epidemic Prevention Day. Let's remember the deceased. Thank you also for those in times of crisis. Heroes who step up. I should write a letter. Looking out the window. Students are running and playing on the playground. Everything is normal. But everyone knows this normality is not easy to come by. Catastrophe has caused us to lose a lot, but it also taught us more. Learn to plan ahead. Learn to cherish the present. The most important thing is to learn in the darkest moments. Still believe that dawn will come. Because we are human. Because we have wisdom, courage, and love. Because even if the world collapses, there are also brothers who fight side by side. The phone rang again. Mom, what do you want to eat at night? Me, everything my mother makes is delicious. Mom, I know how to make me happy. Then, make your favorite braised pork. I smiled. It's good to be alive. It's good to have a family. It's good to have brothers. The end is over, and our story has just begun.